Check, check, check one, check two, check, check.
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. My name is Kiksar Opie. Today we're diving into freelancing for beginners. This is your A to Z guide, no fluff, just actionable strategies. We'll cover everything from picking your niche to scaling your income. Grab a coffee, maybe a notepad, and let's dive in. All right, first things first, let's talk about choosing your niche. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, Kiksar. Can't I just offer everything I'm kind of good at? And look, I get the temptation. You want to cast a wide net, right? But trust me on this one, trying to be a jack of all trades, especially when you're starting out, is usually a master of none, and more importantly, a master of. Choosing the right niche is absolutely critical. It's the bedrock of your entire freelancing career. It dictates who your clients are, how much you can charge, and how easy or difficult it's going to be to find work. So, don't just skim over this part, it's foundational. So how do you actually pick a niche? Well, I like to think of it as a sweet spot between three things: what you're genuinely skilled at or passionate about, what people are actually willing to pay good money for, and what has consistent demand. You might love underwater basket weaving, but if no one's paying for it, it's a hobby, not a freelance business. Conversely, you might see that coding is in high demand, but if you absolutely despise it, you're setting yourself up for burnout. We're looking for that intersection. Okay, so you've got a niche in mind, or at least a strong contender. Fantastic. The next crucial piece is your portfolio. In freelancing, your portfolio is your golden ticket. It's your 24/7 salesperson. Clients want proof of your skills. They won't just take your word for it. Show tangible examples. A strong portfolio builds trust and credibility. It's often the deciding factor. What if you're just starting out? Create spec work or volunteer projects. Generate high-quality pieces. Always lead with your best work. All right, you've got your niche, you've got a portfolio that's starting to look pretty sharp. Now, where do you actually find these clients? For many beginners, and even for seasoned freelancers, online freelance platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, freelancer.com, and others specific to certain industries can be an absolute goldmine, especially when you're starting out. Think of them as massive marketplaces connecting people who need services with people like you who can provide them. They handle a lot of the admin, like payments, which can be a huge relief when you're new. So, let's talk about setting up your profiles on these platforms to actually get noticed. Your profile on these platforms is essentially your digital storefront. It's often the very first impression a potential client will have of you, so you need to make it count. This isn't the place for a blurry selfie and a one-sentence bio saying, "I do good work." No. You need a professional, high-quality photo, ideally a clear headshot where you look approachable and trustworthy. Your headline or title needs to be incredibly compelling and keyword-rich. This chapter is a big one, folks, because we're talking about money. Specifically, how to set your rates and develop a pricing strategy. This is where so many new freelancers stumble. There's this immense fear of pricing too high and scaring away clients, or pricing too low and undervaluing yourself, leading to burnout and resentment. Let me be clear. You are running a business, not a charity. You need to adopt a business owner's mindset when it comes to pricing. Your rates should reflect your skills, your experience, even if it's just starting, and the value you deliver. Don't fall into the trap of a race to the bottom on price. There are several common pricing models in freelancing, and it's good to understand them. You've got hourly rates, which are straightforward. You charge for each hour you work. Then, there's project-based pricing, where you quote a flat fee for the entire project. This is great for clients because they know the total cost up front, and it can be great for you if you're efficient. There's also value-based pricing, which is a bit more advanced, where you price based on the perceived value or ROI you deliver to the client. And finally, retainers, where a client pays you a set amount each month for a certain amount of work or availability. Each has its pros and cons, and what's best can depend on your niche and the type of project. So how do you actually come up with a number? Start by researching market rates. See what other freelancers in your niche with a similar level of experience are charging on platforms or on their own websites. This chapter is a big one, folks, because we're talking about money, specifically, how to set your rates and develop a pricing strategy. This is where so many new freelancers stumble. There's this immense fear of pricing too high and scaring away clients, or pricing too low and undervaluing yourself, leading to burnout and resentment. Let me be clear, you are running a business, not a charity. You need to adopt a business owner's mindset when it comes to pricing. Your rates should reflect your skills, your experience, and the value you deliver. Don't fall into the trap of a race to the bottom on price. Alright, let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that many freelancers, especially introverted ones, tend to overlook: networking and building relationships. You might think, I'm a freelancer, I work alone, why do I need to network? Let me tell you, your network can be one of your most powerful assets, leading to client referrals, collaborations, support, and even friendships in this sometimes isolating world of solo work. The old saying, your network is your net worth, absolutely applies here. Don't underestimate the power of human connection, even in a digital-first career. So, where do you even start with networking as a freelancer? Online is often the easiest place. LinkedIn is an absolute must. Optimize your LinkedIn profile just like you did for the freelance platforms. Connect with people in your industry, potential clients, and other freelancers. Join relevant LinkedIn groups and participate in discussions. Don't just be a lurker, provide value, share insights, congratulate people on their successes. Beyond LinkedIn, there are countless online communities, forums, Slack channels, and Facebook groups dedicated to specific niches or freelancing in general. This is the moment many of you are probably waiting for: how to actually land that elusive first paying client. It can feel like the biggest hurdle when you're starting out. You need experience to get clients, but you need clients to get experience, the classic catch-22. But I'm here to tell you, it's absolutely doable. It takes a combination of strategy, persistence, and putting yourself out there. Getting that first client, and then the next few, is all about building momentum. Once the ball starts rolling, it gets a lot easier. We've already talked about freelance platforms, and these are often the quickest route to your first gig. The key here is not just to blindly apply to every job you see. You need to write incredibly compelling proposals. Read the job description carefully, I mean carefully. Alright, so you're starting to get some interest, maybe you've even landed a client or two. Congratulations. Now comes a new challenge: managing your time effectively. One of the biggest perks of freelancing is the freedom to set your own schedule. But let me tell you that freedom can quickly turn into a curse if you're not disciplined. Procrastination, distractions, and poor planning can eat away at your productive hours, leading to missed deadlines, stressed out clients, and ultimately, less income. Time really is money when you're a freelancer, so learning to manage it well is non-negotiable. There are tons of tools and techniques out there to help you get a grip on your schedule. Experiment and find what works for you. Time blocking is a popular one, where you schedule specific blocks of time for specific tasks, just like appointments. The Pomodoro technique, working in focused 25-minute intervals with short breaks, can be amazing for maintaining concentration. Simple to-do lists, whether digital or on paper, are still incredibly effective for keeping track of what needs to get done. And for managing client projects, especially if you have multiple on the go, project management tools like Trello, Asana, or ClickUp can be lifesavers. So, you're working on projects, you're managing your time, fantastic. But there's another critical skill that can make or break your freelance career: client communication and how you handle feedback. Let me be blunt, you can be the most talented designer, writer, or coder in the world, but if you're terrible at communicating with your clients, you're going to struggle. Excellent communication is the cornerstone of successful projects, happy clients, glowing testimonials, and that all-important repeat business. It all starts with setting clear expectations right from the get-go. Professionalism in all your communications is paramount. This means clear, concise, and grammatically correct emails and messages. Respond to client inquiries in a timely manner. You don't have to be available 24/7, but aim to reply within a reasonable time frame, say 24 business hours. Establish preferred communication channels early on. Does the client prefer email, Slack, or scheduled calls? Knowing this avoids frustration on both sides, and always keep a record of important discussions and decisions, preferably in writing, to avoid misunderstandings down the line. Now let's talk about feedback. Alright, you're in the freelancing game, you're getting clients, you're delivering work. You might think you can just coast from here, right? Wrong. The freelance world, and indeed the entire job market, is constantly evolving. New technologies emerge, industry trends shift, client needs change. If you're not committed to continuous learning and skill improvement, you risk becoming stagnant, outdated, and eventually uncompetitive. In freelancing, staying sharp isn't just a good idea, it's essential for long-term survival and growth. You have to be a lifelong learner. So how do you identify areas for improvement? Start by paying attention to your industry. What new tools or software are becoming popular? What new strategies or techniques are delivering results for clients? Are there skills adjacent to what you currently offer that could add significant value? Also, listen to your clients. We've covered a ton of ground from picking your niche to continuously learning. Now let's talk about the exciting part. Scaling your freelancing business. There often comes a point where you're consistently busy, maybe even turning down work because you simply don't have enough hours in the day. This is a good problem to have, but it's still a problem if you want to grow your income and impact without just working yourself into the ground. Scaling isn't just about working more. It's about working smarter and leveraging your success. One of the most straightforward ways to scale, at least initially, is to strategically raise your rates. As you gain more experience, build a stronger portfolio, and accumulate glowing testimonials, your perceived value increases. You should be periodically reassessing your pricing to reflect this. Don't be afraid to target higher value clients who are willing and able to pay for premium expertise. This often means learning to say no to lower paying projects that take up too much of your time, freeing you up to focus on more lucrative opportunities. And there you have it, folks. That was our deep dive on how to start freelancing. From finding your niche to building a portfolio, managing time, and scaling your business. Remember, every successful freelancer started where you are. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, smash that like button and subscribe for more. Good luck on your freelancing journey. Now go out there and make it happen.